Can we hear? Here's a question from Ramya, which is coming across. You can probably see it in the chat box. And you can see that, James, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this idea about remote brainstorming, I mean, I have some views about it, having been involved in quite a few over this last period because there was no other way to do it. But you've also had to, adapt to it as well. I guess how about if I start and say, so I had never used Mural before and had to learn to use Mural so that I could brainstorm with people from my team, and then we brought in a remote facilitator to facilitate us virtually in Mural space. And quite frankly, I found it exhausting after an hour. Whereas if you're in a room with people and you're playing off each other, in real time, interacting face to face with a whiteboard, you just get energized by it rather than drained by it. It would be, I guess, my first observation about the remote brainstorming. And so you sort of run out of gas sooner would be my, it's just individually or personally I did. But was that true, or is that true for you, or how do you see it?
Yeah, I've definitely found that to be the case. I see my role as the designer in the room doing like cross-functional brainstorms as often to try and keep the energy high.
Yeah.
And even when things start to sort of relax.
Right.
But my professor often describes good brainstorms as similar to jazz.
Yeah.
This idea that, different musicians sort of pick up the melody, give their own interpretation and solo, and it's this sort of fluid collective back and forth of contribution.
Yeah.
And I think the fluidity is certainly impaired by the medium that we now communicate in. But some ways to make it better.
Yeah.
I try to get people to stand up, and I know it's kind of crazy because like everyone's all on their computer, but even when you're doing a brainstorm, like in person, being on your feet, like thinking on your feet, it does keep the energy going. It really is helpful when you're doing a brainstorm in person for everyone to be on their feet. It's really helpful for also in person, if everyone's on their feet, to sort of, have a big whiteboard or something where they're putting up the ideas and they can reference back and forth. So there's a group of people sort of standing, facing out towards the place where all the ideas are being contributed to and synthesized.
Yeah, I agree. Do you see this other question coming across from Kelly?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are your best tips for ideation sessions?